I never thought about it as trying to have a need to prove something to him other than I wanted him to be proud of me.
The name Sam Elliott instantly brings to mind the rugged cowboy charm, a gravelly voice that could tame wild horses, and a mustache that's practically iconic in its own right. He's the embodiment of old-school Hollywood grit and gentlemanly integrity, a rare blend of masculinity and soul that stood the test of time for decades. With a career that spans over 50 years, Sam has carved his place not just in westerns, but in the hearts of millions. From Tombstone to The Big Lebowski to A Star Is Born, every role he's taken has left a mark. And every fan he's touched has never forgotten him. But today, fans around the world are reeling over a wave of rumors, social media buzz, and fan theories following a cryptic, emotional message that's being dubbed his final letter. Is it a goodbye? A farewell to Hollywood? Or just an honest moment from a man reflecting on life, legacy, and the passage of time? Let's dive deep into what's really going on with Sam Elliott and what this final message is really all about. Whispers of Sam Elliott's mysterious final letter swept across social media like wildfire, igniting a frenzy among fans who've long admired his gravelly voice and stoic screen presence. It all started with a hauntingly tender paragraph that began circulating online, a message dripping with introspection and farewell, written in a voice so uncannily similar to Sam's that readers swore it had to be him. The post spread with captions like "Sam Elliott bids farewell to Hollywood" and "The cowboy rides off one last time," sending shockwaves through online communities and fan pages. People clung to every word, dissecting the phrasing and punctuation, looking for signs that this was the real deal. Was it a stealthy retirement announcement? A leaked letter never meant for the public eye? Or just an elaborate hoax crafted by someone who knew the actor's tone a little too well? As the rumor mill churned, major outlets stayed silent, and Elliott's official representatives offered no confirmation. That silence only fueled the fire. And yet, for all the mystery, the letter resonated because it captured something true. In recent interviews, Elliott has opened up more than ever before, speaking candidly about the weight of aging, the changing landscape of Hollywood, and what it means to leave a legacy. The supposed letter felt like a culmination of those sentiments. Whether penned by Sam or not, the message landed like a punch to the gut, raw, reflective, and heartbreakingly poetic. Fans weren't just reacting to the idea of a letter. They were reacting to the idea of losing a figure who stood as a cinematic pillar for decades. In that way, the letter, real or not, tapped into a very real fear. That one day soon, the cowboy really might hang up his hat for good. In the last few years, Sam Elliott has peeled back the curtain on his life with a vulnerability that's both unexpected and deeply moving. Gone is the unshakable cowboy image. What remains is a man reckoning with the weight of time. In a candid interview with the Los Angeles Times, Elliott didn't shy away from hard truths. He spoke openly about the slowdown of roles, the toll on his aging body, and the emotional shift that comes with watching the industry, and himself, change. He confessed to feeling the sting of being typecast, always the rugged hero, the quiet drifter, the mustached icon. Behind that timeless image is a man who's wrestled with isolation, the strange contradiction of being famous, yet profoundly alone. "I've been lucky," he said, his words edged with quiet resignation. "But sometimes I wonder if the cowboy rides off and never comes back." That one sentence echoed like a final scene in a film, haunting, layered, and steeped in unspoken meaning. Fans listening closely to these interviews couldn't help but feel something heavier lurking between the lines. Was this just reflection? Or was Sam Elliott slowly, gently lowering the curtain on his legendary career? His voice, always steady and commanding, has taken on a more introspective cadence, one that hints at a man looking backward more than forward. These emotional revelations don't signal an ending in the dramatic sense. Rather, they hint at a soft exit, a graceful fade into a life that finally prioritizes stillness over the spotlight. Elliott isn't disappearing. He's evolving, trading scripts for sunsets, fame for family, and applause for peace. And that, in itself, carries a kind of beautiful, aching finality. The cowboy may not be gone, but he's riding into a different kind of sunset, one that feels more personal, more human, and undeniably more profound. Sam Elliott's career reads like a Western epic, sprawling, stoic, and unforgettable. To truly grasp the emotional impact of the so-called final letter rumors, you have to rewind through the decades of cinematic gold he's given us. It all began humbly in the late 1960s, with bit parts on television shows that barely scratched the surface of his potential. But then came that voice, deep as a canyon and unmistakably commanding. Hollywood didn't just notice it, it needed it. His breakout in Lifeguard, 1976, showed off more than just rugged charm. It hinted at emotional depth. And then came Tombstone in 1993, where he practically redefined the Western archetype, standing tall beside Kurt Russell as Virgil Earp. By the time he sauntered onto the screen in The Big Lebowski, 1998, narrating with a voice that felt both ancient and comforting, Elliott was no longer just an actor. He was a presence, but it was A Star is Born in 2018 that pierced through generations. As Bobby, the protective older brother to Bradley Cooper's troubled musician, Elliott didn't just act. He exposed something raw and deeply human. His eyes carried decades of unspoken grief, pride, and longing. That performance earned him his first Oscar nomination and introduced him to a younger audience who had never seen a cowboy cry. A farewell from Sam Elliott, real or imagined, wouldn't be laced with sorrow. It would echo with gratitude, steeped in memories of dusty sets, long stares, and quiet wisdom. These weren't just roles, they were pieces of himself left behind in film reels. For fans, revisiting his work now feels different, more sacred, more fragile. Because if the cowboy truly is riding off, he's leaving behind a trail of legendary characters that no one else could ever play quite the same way. Amidst the glitz, the dust of Western sets, and the echoes of his iconic voice, one story in Sam Elliott's life has remained untouched by Hollywood's turbulence: his unwavering love for Catherine Ross. It's a rare golden thread woven through the heart of his legacy, and fans hold on to it like a fairy tale that somehow survived the storm. Their story began on the eerie, atmospheric set of The Legacy in 1978. He was the quiet, intense actor still waiting for his big break. She was already a star, best known for The Graduate and Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid. He admired her from afar, long before they ever met. When their paths finally crossed, it wasn't just a spark. It was fate carving out its masterpiece. They married in 1984, and over 4 decades later, they're still each other's anchor in an industry known for fleeting romances and public implosions. Through the noise of red carpets and the solitude of film shoots, they built something private, enduring, and beautifully grounded. Sam has never been shy about crediting Catherine with keeping him whole. "I wouldn't be who I am without her," he once declared, an admission that laid bare his heart in a way few leading men ever do. So when whispers of a final letter swirl, It's not just the career or the cowboy persona that fans reflect on. It's the idea of a man deeply in love, possibly penning one last tribute to the woman who stood by him through it all. The rumored farewell isn't just cinematic, it's personal. It hits where it matters. Because beyond the grit and gravel, Sam Elliott's greatest role may well be that of a loving husband, fiercely loyal to a once-in-a-lifetime kind of love. Sam Elliott's fan base isn't just loyal. They're fiercely devoted, emotionally tethered to the man behind the mustache. And it's not just because of his unforgettable roles or that deep, gravelly voice. It's because Sam Elliott embodies something increasingly rare in Hollywood: authenticity. He doesn't play the fame game. He doesn't chase headlines or inject himself into scandals. When Sam speaks, it feels deliberate and thoughtful, never for show. That kind of integrity builds more than admiration. It builds trust. And over the years, that trust has turned into a bond between Elliott and his fans that transcends the screen. To many, Sam feels like family. The wise uncle who shows up just when you need him. The old friend who doesn't say much but always understands. And the cowboy who stands for something unshakable in a world spinning too fast. So when rumors of a final letter began surfacing, it hit with a surprising emotional impact. This wasn't just about an actor possibly stepping away from the spotlight. This felt personal, like losing the last voice of calm in the chaos, the last reminder that strength can be quiet, and dignity doesn't have to be loud. Social media lit up not just with speculation, but with tributes, memories, quotes, and heartfelt messages from fans who have grown up with Sam's films as a kind of moral compass. His legacy isn't just what he's done on screen, it's how he's made people feel off-screen, safe, inspired, and seen. The emotional connection runs deep. That's why even the idea of a farewell shook his fan base. Because if Sam Elliott is riding into the sunset, it's not just the end of an era. It's the fading of a presence that made everything a little more grounded, a little more real, and a whole lot more human. The whispers started small, an unconfirmed tabloid blurb here, a cancelled appearance there. But as Sam Elliott became increasingly absent from the spotlight, fans began to notice. At 80 years old, the grizzled icon of American film has always projected timeless strength, yet recent disappearances from red carpets, interviews, and public engagements have sparked a wave of speculation. And in Hollywood, silence often speaks louder than words. Some reports have floated unverified claims about memory issues, while others suggest he's quietly stepping away to focus on long-term health and family. Though none of this has been confirmed by Sam or his team, the media machine doesn't need much to spin a story. And for fans, especially those already rattled by the final letter rumor, every quiet moment feels like it could be the last chapter. What adds tension is how perfectly the silence aligns with the narrative fans fear most: that their hero is saying goodbye without making a sound. That the cowboy isn't galloping into the sunset this time, but slipping quietly off the range, on his own terms. Yet, amid all this noise, there's another possibility, one far more in line with who Sam Elliott has always been. Maybe he's not fading away. Maybe he's just choosing peace. After decades of gritty roles, grueling schedules, and the constant pull of fame, Sam may finally be doing the one thing he's earned more than anyone: living for himself. Still, the unease lingers, because for fans who've drawn strength from his presence, even his silence carries emotional weight. Whether it's a health issue or simply a long overdue rest, the uncertainty surrounding Sam's current status keeps hearts clenched. Until he speaks or rides back into frame, his absence will echo just as powerfully as his iconic voice ever did. There's a haunting kind of power in the unknown, and that's exactly what surrounds Sam Elliott right now. The air around his name feels heavy with unanswered questions. Is he truly stepping away? Is the silence a farewell, or simply a man reclaiming his privacy after decades in the limelight? In the absence of official announcements, fans have turned to clues, old interviews, quiet social media activity, and even the tone of recent roles. Every word, every public gesture is dissected for hidden meaning. And yet, Elliott offers nothing to confirm or deny. He remains a ghost in a digital age that demands constant updates. This, of course, only intensifies the intrigue. For a figure like Sam, who's always moved with quiet dignity, this ambiguity feels intentional. It's almost poetic, the cowboy slipping away without fanfare, not because he has to, but because that's who he's always been. While other celebrities post cryptic farewells or viral TikToks, Sam simply fades from view. No explosions, no drama, just the whisper of boots leaving the room. But make no mistake, his impact lingers. Every fan speculation, every emotional Reddit thread, every grainy paparazzi photo snapped from afar, they all prove one thing. Sam Elliott means more to people than just film roles. He's a symbol of strength, of resilience, of a quieter kind of masculinity that doesn't shout but still demands respect. And perhaps that's why the mystery hurts. Because if this really is the end, or even just the beginning of one, fans feel robbed of the chance to say goodbye, to honor him, to thank him. Whether this chapter is retirement, reflection, or just rest, one thing is certain: Sam Elliott's silence has never spoken louder. And in that silence, fans cling to hope and brace for whatever may come next. If Sam Elliott ever sat down to pen a final message to his fans, you can bet it wouldn't be delivered with Hollywood flair or a carefully staged press release. It would come quietly, perhaps scribbled on a weathered piece of paper, maybe even tucked inside the pages of a leather-bound journal. Because Sam has never been about spectacle, he's about soul. Fans imagine that message not as a farewell laced with sadness, but as a steady, grounded acknowledgement of a life well lived. No dramatic monologue, no Oscar-style thank you list, just that warm, gravelly honesty that has defined every role he's ever taken. If the letter ever surfaces, it might feel more like a fireside conversation than a public announcement. You'd read it and hear his voice in your head, slow, deliberate, and impossibly sincere. The words wouldn't center on awards or movie titles. They'd focus on connection, on the silent nod between strangers who've both faced hardship, on the comforting silence of wide-open spaces, on the dignity of doing your work well, even when no one's watching. He might mention Catherine. He might reference the peace he finds in family, horses, or the quiet simplicity of the West. He'd thank those who believed in him, not just the directors and co-stars, but the fans who saw beyond the mustache and into the man himself. And in true Sam Elliott fashion, he wouldn't call it a goodbye. He might call it another ride, or just a different trail. Because cowboys don't say farewell. They tip their hats, squint toward the horizon, and keep moving. In the end, the final message wouldn't be about endings. It would be about legacy, etched not in marble or gold, but in the hearts of those who rode alongside him, mile after mile, scene after unforgettable scene. Sam Elliott's legacy has already carved its place in cinematic history, and it's one that doesn't require ongoing screen time to remain alive. He is the voice of the American West, the soul of the strong, silent type, and the benchmark for authenticity in a town that often favors artifice. Whether or not he steps back from acting completely, the shadow he casts over Hollywood won't fade. It will deepen, becoming a blueprint for what it means to carry both grit and grace. From Tombstone to The Big Lebowski to A Star is Born, Sam hasn't just played characters, he's embodied ideals, and those ideals stick. His influence is evident in a new wave of actors trying to capture that same rugged honesty. His voice echoes in commercials, documentaries, and even the American psyche. And that's the thing about icons. They don't vanish. They evolve. So what's next for the man himself? Likely, the life he's quietly yearned for. Time spent away from spotlights and red carpets. Filled with quiet landscapes, love, and maybe a pen instead of a script. He may write. He may lend his legendary voice to the right project. He might even surprise fans with a cameo that lights up the screen all over again. But if he chooses to stay away, it's not a loss. It's the reward of a career that never needed constant noise to be loud. And for those who are worried, don't panic. The letter may feel like a goodbye, but Sam Elliott is still with us. No final press release, no farewell tour, just the familiar echo of boots walking away, only to return quietly whenever the trail calls. Because that's what legends do. They leave just enough silence to make their return unforgettable. Sam Elliott may not have written an official final letter, but the emotions behind that idea are rooted in truth, gratitude, reflection, and deep connection. Whether he's preparing for retirement or just embracing peace and privacy, one thing is certain: his legacy is eternal. Sam doesn't need a letter to remind us what he means. His entire career is the message, and we've been lucky to receive it. If Sam Elliott has ever moved you with a role, made you feel something with just a glance or a line of dialogue, let us know in the comments. What's your favorite Sam Elliott moment? And what would you say back to him? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood legends. We'll be back soon with another story that you won't want to miss. Thanks for watching.